This video, I'm going to be showing you how to remove objects from a picture in Photoshop using a couple of different content-aware tools. When you're removing objects in a photo, your tool that you use is going to depend on what you're trying to remove. Content-aware may be something that works for you, it may not, but just work with your picture, and if you want to test this out, this may wind up being a good option. The first thing that we need to do is we need to select the object that we're trying to remove. So in this case, I am trying to get rid of this rock. So you can use your lasso tool, you can use your quick selection tool. In this case, I just used my quick selection tool and I traced an area around my rock. And I wanted to do an area bigger than the rock itself because I didn't want this divot in the sand to show. So once you've got your object selected, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, first off, I want to make a new background layer here. Whoops. Go to duplicate layer, just so I've got another copy before I do any kind of work, because you don't want to make any permanent changes. So I made a copy so that we can undo this if necessary. And then I'm going to right click on my selection, and there's a button that says fill. So if you click fill, there should be a box that says content aware. Now if it doesn't, just drop down, find the content aware selection, and once you've got there, click OK. So what Photoshop is doing is it's taking the content surrounding that picture and it is putting it in the place of the area that you're trying to get rid of. So if I go ahead and right click and deselect, you can see that I've got a decent picture here. I've got my rock on, it took some areas from the spots around it, and it filled it in. So for someone who had never seen this photo, they'd be none the wiser that there was not a rock, that there was never going to be a rock there to begin with. So that's an easy way to do this. Again, depending on the picture is going to depend on how well it works for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this layer off so I get my rock back. And I'm going to make another background layer because I want to show you how to use the content aware patch tool. So again, I'm going to select around my rock here. Try to get about the same selection as I did before. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm gonna reselect that because I want it to be a little bit smaller. Actually, that won't be too bad. So if I take this tool here, this is the spot healing tool where you have your brush, your healing brush, but the third one down is your patch tool. If you click on that, what it wants you to do is slide over your selection and put it in a spot where you want to have that content show up. So you can see as you move it, what's going to be in that area is now appearing in your picture. So I'm going to move it here where it's pretty much in plain sand. And once you've got it in a place you like, just let go of your mouse and it will begin to fill it in. So it thinks it's got it filled in. So I'm going to right click and deselect. And you can see with this one, it did an okay job. It didn't do quite as good as that fill. You can see some areas where there's different colors. Maybe if I had put it in a spot where there was a little bit darker variation, it would have looked a little bit better. But a way that you can touch up these edges here would be to use your clone stamp. So if you go over to the left, you can see this stamp here, and that's your clone stamp. So you can make selections in anywhere in this picture of what you want to essentially use as a stamp to put it on the rest of your picture. So select a spot. If you click Alt and you click on the spot you want, so let's say I just want this darker area sand, you can now use that as a stamp to stamp over any spot that you don't want. So if I am wanting to get rid of these edges a little bit, you can see that now I got rid of those very distinct edges. Now, of course, there is still a little bit lighter, so if I wanted to start to blend in a little bit more, I could even make my brush bigger to try to get more of a, here, just to show you, if I make my brush bigger, not that big. Let's type in, we'll do 7, just to make it a little bit bigger. So if I wanted to select a bigger area, I could cover some more ground and really fill in those spots to blend it in a little bit better. So you can see that the content aware tools, they really do give you a pretty good disguise over the objects you want gone, depending on what your picture is, but then you can also use your clone stamp to clean it up a little bit. So those are a couple options you have if you have any objects in there that you really are just trying to get rid of.